Hello, hello. Alrighty. In your book, it says number 10. This is all about essential oils, and I don't consider myself to be an expert in essential oils. However, I have used them for at least 20 years. It's just not my go-to unless we're talking about a diffuser in the air, right? But when we're talking about applying it to the body, it just depends on what the situation is. But usually I go to herbs and energy work first. However, essential oils are extremely powerful and concentrated medicine. If you learn how to make your own essential oils, then to me that would be ideal because then you know what plants to grow and how much of it you would need to grow, and you become very self-reliant in using essential oils as medicine. One of the reasons I love plant medicine, and we're talking about herbs like elderflowers or yarrow flowers, like the plant material, not the essential oil, is because they're typically something we can grow enough of ourselves and use them very easily and simply, which makes us capable of being self-reliant and self-sufficient in our own health. That is the most important thing to me. However, while we still have access to essential oils, it's a very important part of the things that we can do to take care of ourselves and our families. That's why we're going to talk about it. So here are some quick tips and further resources. This one is called Green, this one's not Green Pharmacy, but this one is Aromatherapy, a complete guide to the healing art. Kathy Cavell and Mindy Green. I really love the size and shape of this book. And I love that she talks about herbs too, not just essential oils. And in the back, she has these great charts. And there's, I don't know how clear that is. Anyway, these really great charts that talk about how to use essential oils for emotional health as well as physical issues, skin issues, hair, and just a huge list of, I would say, medicinal uses and emotional uses. The easiest way to word that. All right, and then we have in Green Pharmacy, a book we talked about before in the history of herbs by Barbara Griggs. She covers some incredible French history where essential oils and aromatherapy were pioneered in our modern world. Although she also makes it clear that the volatile oils of aromatic plants is not new medicine. She said, for instance, it was known and practiced by the Egyptians. So they figured it out thousands of years ago, which I think is super cool. But again, it's not something I know how to do myself. So what a cool thing to learn. Anyway, Dr. Valnet, born in 1920 France, described astonishing results with the use of essential oils. So thyme essential oil, THYME, 5% aqueous solution, kills typhus bacillus, Shiga's bacillus, streptococcus, diphtheria bacillus, and staphylococcus. That thyme essential oil sounds like something we should all keep on hand, if at all possible. We will not always have access to modern medicine, and some people already don't, right? And so if we have other options besides an antibiotic, I say it's a really good idea to try and use that first in the proper dosage. So German chamomile essential oil, no higher concentrations than 1 in 170,000 healed infected wounds. He also found particularly powerful agents in cloves, eucalyptus, garlic, and lemon. Of course, cloves, eucalyptus, garlic, and lemon are all herbs that we can apply externally or internally. Eucalyptus isn't one I take internally. I've heard that it's toxic and basically koala food, but it is something that we can take externally, depending on the situation, to help with muscle soreness or breathing. It's a wonderful herb to clean the air. When it comes to dosing with essential oils, I use another book that was recommended by Dr. Aviva Romm. And so that book is the one that I showed you, Aromatherapy, A Complete Guide to the Healing Art by Kathy Kevill and Mindy Green. Their book covers safety and dilution, which is super important when you want to dose correctly. And that is in chapter 5 of their book. The authors write, there is rarely any need to go beyond a 3% dilution for any purpose. That is on page 42. A 1% dilution is basically 5 to 6 drops of essential oil per 1 ounce of a carrier oil. So that carrier oil is something like olive oil, coconut oil, what do we want to say? Almond oil, avocado oil, like you choose the oil, but it is only 5 to 6 drops, and that is a 1% dilution. 2% dilution is 10 to 12 drops of essential oil per 1 ounce of carrier oil. And then the 3% is 15 to 18 drops of essential oil per carrier oil ounce. Pure essential oils need to be diluted in a carrier oil because many of them are known skin irritants. A carrier oil is simply a high-quality vegetable oil. Almond, apricot, coconut, grapeseed, hazelnut, jojoba, olive, sesame, walnut. Just make sure you're not allergic to any of these oils before you put them on your skin. That's why I always suggest a little test spot somewhere on your arm or your wrist. Definitely not your face. Okay? So use those dilution percentages, and then, as far as I know, essential oils have not been used as long as herbs, which herbs have been used since the beginning of human existence. Essential oils, I don't know, but at least at the time of the Egyptians, meaning the written histories of the Egyptians. So they have also been used safely for a couple thousand years, right? So essential oils are beneficial as antimicrobials and for promoting physical wellness, mood balancing, and emotional support, as well as beauty enhancers for the skin and the hair. The authors also note to use 1/2 to 1% dilution of essential oil on children, pregnant women, the elderly, and those with health concerns. So that is a really important thing to pay attention to with children because, like I said, these are highly concentrated medicines, and we really want to be careful with our kids and pregnant women, right? The elderly. We want to take care of people correctly if they so ask, right? So also noted that massage oils should be at a 1% dilution because so much oil is used during a session all over the body, and it's safer for both the client and the practitioner giving the treatment. So I do use essential oils when I do body work, but I always ask them if they're allergic to any essential oils, and I ask them, is it okay if I use this one, right, depending on what it is and what body part we're working on. And I only use a little bit, 1% dilution. So I also, onto a different type of oil, I make my own garlic oil, and then sometimes, not always, but sometimes I add a drop of essential oil when applying it to my children's feet or bodies. I also often use essential oils in a diffuser to keep the air clean, as well as smudging with the herbs that we talked about in our smudging section. Things like lavender flowers, cedar, palo santo, that's one of my favorites, bay leaves, and sage. I can't use sage because I get a headache because I'm allergic, but other people can. And then another excellent way to use essential oils is just a few drops in a hot bath with, what do I use? Epsom salts. That's what I use. I use a minimum of 2 cups of Epsom salts, and I put my drops of essential oil in that before I dump it into the bathtub. I keep on hand at least 5 essential oils. Most reputable essential oil companies will have a blend with all 5 powerful plague combating essential oils. And I say that because of the histories that we have read about. So those 5 oils are cinnamon, clove, eucalyptus, lemon, and rosemary. This is based on an old um, history of robbers surviving the practice of stealing from the dead and the dying during the bubonic plague. Eating garlic and onions are also a known survival skill based on plague history documentation. Dr. Christopher created an herbal formula based on this history and Christianity's fears of a future coming plague. What if that future coming plague is caused by antibiotic resistance? A superbug of sorts. That's my question. We will discuss antibiotic resistance and superbugs later in the course, as well as the herbal formula that Dr. Christopher created to combat a plague. Like I said, he called it anti-plague, and now it's called super garlic immune. And you can order that at Holistic Botanicals. You may be able to find it on Amazon. I'm not really sure. And you can definitely find it at herbsfirst.com. Because you're in my program with me, you can order through me and we get the wholesale price instead of paying the retail price. So even though herbsfirst.com is a great place to get it and you get a wonderful discount, you still have to pay for shipping, which means you're basically going to be paying about the retail price of it, which is double wholesale, if not more, depending on where you go. So, all right. Essential oils are typically not safe for ingestion, so please proceed with caution when considering ingesting essential oils and study it thoroughly. We will be using some essential oils throughout our course. I am not an aromatherapist or an expert in essential oil use, so I tend to follow the recipes with exactness, unless of course it tends to be lavender oil, which is considered to be one of the absolute safest herbs for everyone. What I mean by that is safe for normal healthy adults, safe for children, safe for pregnant women, safe for the elderly. It's a great, safe, essential oil. And there was something that came to mind when I was reading this, but that's okay. We have everything covered in this section of the chapter. So our next video is going to be about dosing specifically for children.